Today I'm going to look at this fact check here. So this is from healthfeedback.org. They're looking at an article from the New York Post, which was apparently referencing a study on lockdowns, and I think that the basic claim is that the article was misrepresenting the study. So just go down here. I'm not particularly interested in the fact check as a whole. It may well be perfectly correct. I've not really looked into it in detail. What did strike me though is this section here that says how many lives did COVID-19 restrictions and lockdowns saved. Now, if we look at the first paragraph there, it's referring to a study on non-pharmaceutical interventions in 11 European countries. So if we go down to reference number 2 that they're citing there, go down to the bottom here. So we'll see this is a paper, I think from Imperial College, Flaxman et al. Reference number 2. So if we go to the actual paper here, so this was published in Nature. I believe it was peer reviewed. So the interesting thing is just looking at the abstract actually. So in the abstract, it says that it assumes that changes in the R number, so basically reductions in the virus transmission, are an immediate response to non-pharmaceutical interventions rather than gradual changes in behaviour. So they've assumed a counterfactual that essentially without the actual government restrictions, and there would have been no change in people's behaviour. And therefore all reductions in the virus are due to the restrictions. So if we look at the end of the abstract here, it says our results show that major non-pharmaceutical interventions, lockdowns in particular, had a large effect on reducing transmission. But the problem there is that this is an example of circular reasoning. So what they've done is they've assumed something, that the restrictions reduce virus transmission, and therefore their results show that lockdowns in particular have a large effect on reducing transmission. Well, yes, if you assume something, then that's what you're going to find your conclusion is. So I mean, this is a classic case of circular reasoning. Sometimes called begging the question, and it's certainly faulty. If we go further down here, so this section here, the estimated effects of interventions on deaths. So what they're actually saying in, I think it's the second paragraph here, we do not account for changes in behaviour. In reality, even in the absence of government interventions, we would expect the R number to decrease. So they've already admitted that their counterfactual of no changes in behaviour is wrong. So basically their study has said interventions work, and therefore, oh look, we found that the interventions have saved lives. Well, of course, if you assume something, then you would expect to see that as an outcome. So I think what this says to me here is that there's clearly an issue with peer review. If they're essentially going to put through a paper, and especially into such a high profile journal as Nature, which is essentially just assuming what it's trying to conclude, then what does that say about the academic world? Now the other thing is that we know that in the UK at least, infections had either peaked or were peaking by the time of the first lockdown in the first wave, which this study refers to. So that may be because their counterfactual is wrong, because of course some people will have changed their behaviour because of all the concern that was going on in the media and the government at the time, or it could be that something else about the virus is self-limiting.